Okay. So
Yes.
to start off, like a brief introduction about yourself would be great, and then we can go on from there.
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Keith, and I'm from Surrey, BC, and I did my fine arts program at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, and I'm currently a mixed media artist in Calgary, Alberta.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Sick. Nice slate.
yeah,
So I saw, like, I was looking through your Instagram, and I actually saw that you said that you moved to Canada. Like,
yeah. So it's a long story, but originally I'm from Asia, and then I moved to the States, then Canada in 1999,
hmm.
What age?
when I was 8 years old. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
you were really young then.
Yeah, so pretty much Canada through and through. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a crazy experience. What led that to happen?
Uh, Long story short, my parents are hippies, so they like
Ah,
to explore, and they had some kids on the way, so it was a good experience. Yeah. So very neat. Yeah. Hmm.
So how has like living in Canada and moving around a lot, has that influenced your art at all, or if at all?
Um, I believe so. I moved around BC a lot, but Surrey's the place that felt like home, just
Hmm.
because there's so many different cultures and different people. So it's a sense of community that I do enjoy, and most of my artwork comes from that city, the area of Metro Vancouver. So I like to carry that wherever I go. So currently, Calgary. Yeah. Mhm.
how's Calgary receiving that artwork, by the way? I know that Calgary has like one of the bigger art scenes in Canada
Mhm.
so far.
So far, yeah, so far it's mostly just I'm currently doing t-shirts, but hopefully once the COVID gets under control and things are getting back to normal, murals, stuff like that. The city's very big on murals. Like, it's very amazing, like almost kind of competitive with downtown Vancouver with the
Oh,
arts. So I'm like, wow, I'm very impressed. So it's
Oh
very
man. Oh
neat. Yeah,
man. Oh, we got competition now. Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, definitely.
so I also saw on your Instagram that you made a mural at the Women's Outreach in Red Deer.
That's
So I was wondering, like, what was your process? How did that come up?
How'd
Um,
that opportunity even, how'd you even stumble upon that? Did somebody reach out to you?
Basically, I was just working a job. I recently moved there, so I needed to pay some bills. And one of my coworkers was like, Keith, I know you're into art. They're doing a mural at the outreach center. So they just put my name in, and I told them my background of coming from a fine arts background in Surrey. And then they put me on the team, and I worked with so many different artists. And I got to meet some different practicing artists in Calgary, and I never really did a mural on that scale. We had to use a boom lift, so go up maybe,
oh,
I
cool.
don't know, 12 feet in the air. So it was a really good, yeah, it was really good.
Are you scared of heights?
I am, yeah.
Ditto, my
Somebody
guy, ditto.
else. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And you also made a mural that is sadly no longer there at Kwantlen, which I remember seeing.
Yes.
Um, so I remember there was like hip hop quotes on there. I think you had Drake quotes on there.
A little bit, yeah. During the end, you
Yeah.
got, yeah, Drake, yeah.
So
So, yeah.
what was the idea behind that mural?
The different ideas behind that, I worked with two other artists. It was Dura and Allison. They did the fine arts program with me for school. And it was, I guess, how they felt with their different identities, and they wanted a voice. And the best way to do that is public art, street art. So it was more of a way for them to, and myself, of course, to broadcast how they feel, because there's only so much in a gallery you can do, and it's a different content and contextualize to have it outdoors so many people can view it. So it was just a way to have an outdoor voice for how they feel.
okay.
Yeah.
Going off of that, how do
Yeah.
you approach collaboration? Like, are you more of a solo artist? Are you someone who, hides off in their cave and gremlin creates their own crazy work? Or what is the extent of input that you're getting from people?
I do like to work with artists that I'm more familiar of, because then we can bounce off different ideas. I find bigger groups, if you're not familiar with them, it takes a little bit more to get to know the way they work and the way you can brainstorm different ideas. But all in all, a group is still good with me, but I like to work with people I'm more familiar with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I find that sometimes when you work with utter strangers, most of the creation time that you spend on is just getting to know people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then you're strapped for time. You have 2 hours to make a mural, and you're screaming back and forth. What are we gonna do?
That's right. Yeah, definitely right.
So in terms of like large scale work, so I know of the 2 murals. Was there anything else that you've made that is like quite large or took a lot of collaboration with other people?
I did do one. It was still during my time at Kwantlen. I did a collaborative piece with, it was more their ideas. So I went around asking people what they thought of when Surrey comes to mind. Surprisingly, it was negative. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And
then,
like what you can do to change that public perception.
yeah, exactly. Because Surrey is a vibrant community, different cultures. It's growing in population, and it's going to be the next hotspot, I believe. So there's a lot of boom in Surrey. But I used their ideas and I just put it on a large scale artwork. This was back in maybe 2018. And then also I did some recordings of people, what they said. So I used that, some audio when they walked near the art piece. So it was a very interesting perception of what people view of Surrey. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah. It was
really cool.
Yeah, I think the art piece was maybe 6 by 4 feet. So a little bit large. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
I was actually going to go off of that.
Okay.
How big do you want to go?
I would
like,
love
do you
to
have a set size?
Any size would be good, but I would like to go large scale. Something about seeing a large scale work that you know that you collaborated with other people, and like I did that. You know, it affects you differently than a smaller scale, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something that you can point to on the street and go, "Oh yeah, that was me."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Sorry to keep
No,
jumping in, Mishel. I'm really interested in the mediums that you're using, because from the murals that we've seen through your Instagram and through just online perusing and snooping as you're supposed to do before an interview, it looks like a lot of acrylic oil, the contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on new media in your work, like projection or something maybe in the digital space as far as murals go, like maybe a huge screen TV? Like, are those thoughts percolating in your head?
Yeah, they are actually. I was actually working on a new media video regarding the contemporary state of Red Deer, Alberta. It's a very unique place. I've never been somewhere like that. So I was interviewing people and was doing a video installation because I never really dived in too deep into it. And it's a different medium because instead of using art as charcoal, pastel, or whatever, you're using digital, and it's something that like changes your mind and makes you think differently. So I really want to try that, but since the COVID, I had to put it on wraps for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool to know that it's still happening, that it's still in your head and on the way.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
Mishel.
one thing I wanted to bring up was because of your murals and just also the general style of your work, you definitely seem to have a lot of inspiration by like hip hop culture and graffiti, and particularly your murals really do remind me of graffiti. So would you say that that is a main source of your inspiration in terms of like that sort of culture being in your artwork?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's a big part of my artwork. The subculture of hip hop is very tied into it. I'm really interested in the hyper masculinity of hip hop and
Hmm.
how,
Hmm.
like, most people, I guess, if you don't have a way to become a man or whatever, you look to different outlets, and that's what it is. So it almost makes you feel like this is a way you have to become a man. So I like to deconstruct it and see what different narratives come up. So it's very
Hmm.
fast for me. Yeah. Mhm.
Hmm. And do you
Yeah.
think that like also because you're making shirts now, right? You're
Yeah.
making like basically streetwear. So was
Yeah.
that kind of like an idea that, oh, I'm gonna make like kind of a brand out of this? Was that, or how did that come up, making clothing?
Uh, Honestly, it came up because I was just quarantined. I was working, so I took some time off, and then everything was going on. So I thought maybe this is a great time to work on my art. And I just wanted to design clothes for myself. And then I shared it to some friends, and they're like, "Hey, can I purchase this off you?" And I'm like, "You want to buy something that?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure." So then it,
Yeah.
yeah, like a ripple effect. And I'm like, maybe this is something I could try out. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I don't think really um, a clothing brand, but more just each unique art piece because it's one of a kind. I kind of do
Mhm.
a very folk art way of doing it. It's not a vinyl press or silk screen. It's fabric paint, and then I heat press it over. And so then
Oh,
still good, yeah, but it's like a different feel to it, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, those are exclusives.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean my marketing brain is hearing this and that is such a cool jumping off point for you.
Mhm.
Um, I want to ask you on that front, your work art balance, actually, because you touched upon it a little bit. You mentioned you had to get a job when you first jumped to Alberta. How have you navigated that work art balance and commodifying your stuff?
Mhm. Yeah, it's obviously pretty challenging because you got to do find a balance with getting by and your passion, your craft. But I'm currently in the oil patch, which is very different than the fine arts background. But I always try to make time for my artwork, and also I have two little boys, so I make time for them as well. So I think it's more of a balance you have to find. It is hard, but if it means that much to you, you can make time for all of it, you know? Definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you say you have two kids.
Yes.
How has that like? Do you ever get them to collaborate with you in making art? Is that something that ever happens?
Yeah, speaking of that, I actually have a picture of one that we did in the background. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
Ah.
they have the art bug too. Like I find kids, they already love creating or whatever, but I feel like something that we can do together, it draws us together and it's really nice to do. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh my gosh.
It's quite pretty too,
That's
actually.
I really like it. I'd
Yeah.
hang it. I'd put it in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like looking at those colors, that was another thing I noticed is that you use quite a lot of colors in your artwork. You
Mhm.
use very vibrant colors. I also noticed with your the people that you paint, they like you have like blue skin or green skin or like funky colors. Um, is there any reason for that, or is it just a pull?
Um, yeah, well, most of my inspiration does come from Basquiat, and the colors he uses is very vibrant, so I like to buy that. But the people of the color skin, um, it just made sense. I'm like, what if I try something different, like not no ethnicity tied to it, just
Hmm. Yeah.
addition person, which is what I like to do. And then it turned out to be successful, so I thought maybe keep trying that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you've even kept the human form itself pretty ambiguous in that,
Hmm.
you can't really tell gender in a lot of them. The cranial shape isn't denotive of any individual group of people. It's super rad.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Cool.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah.
We have, just for transparency's sake, we have a little list of questions right in front of us. So if you see us peering over going, what is
Yeah,
that?
Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another question I had about the clothing actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
back to that.
Yeah, was how much of it, like, because you're saying that it's sort of kind of a snowball with your customers, I suppose.
Yes.
How much of it is them just saying, "Oh, I want a piece," and you
Mhm.
just giving them a piece, like they just get surprised by it, or do they tell you, like, is it like kind of on a commission base where this is my idea, can you paint that for me? How much
Um,
freedom do you have in that?
right. It's a bit of both, actually. Some of them, they say, Keith, I really love your work. I just want something that, like, I shows that it's one of your works. Or some of them say, hey, I'm from Oakland, California. Can you do one of a T-shirt like that with the skyline? I'm like, yeah, for sure. But they say in your own rendition. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a bit of a commission piece, but also they say, I want your style in there too, because they see the work, and it is a snowball effect. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question I had, which is like I'm bouncing around. Sorry. Was so you mentioned already that you had a project that you had to put on the back burner
Mhm.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
So do you have any other ongoing projects that you have been able to do during COVID, aside from the streetwear or clothing line?
Mostly the streetwear, because I was trying to figure out different ways I can expand on it, because it is a good potential, but I do want to go back to that one Red Deer piece I wanted to do, because there's lots of news about Red Deer. Like there was a shooting that happened at the Walmart back in 2019, and then there was a very I don't know how to say this, but very brutal murder that happened here in Red Deer too. And then there was Black Lives Matter movement that happened here, but it got physical with the other side of it. So it's a very tension community, very transitional, and most people don't know about it, but it's in between two big cities, Edmonton and Calgary. And I feel like it needs a voice, what's going on, because not many people know. It's just a small, oil town. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like a hefty project.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing it for
Yeah.
sure.
Sure. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Well, I was just going to say, Keith, if you want to plug your stuff right now, here's the time, give us an Instagram handle, give us where people can reach you.
Yeah. So you can go to Keith Harris _art. That's my Instagram. I'm looking into a virtual shop in the works, but right now it's just Instagram. So do the link, send me a message, we can do a collaboration, anything. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time, Keith.
Yeah, thank
Cool.
you so much.
All right.
It was
Thank
really
you.
great to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
See ya. And there we go. End meeting.